Hi, Ryan James with Philippine VA Pros. For this particular video, I am going to talk about one of my concerns when I first was looking to hire my first virtual assistant from the Philippines. And that was, am I taking advantage of someone? And because, how I'm paying them so little in comparison to what I would pay someone in the United States. And the reality is, no, you're not taking advantage of them. In fact, the folks in the Philippines that we work with are extremely grateful to have the work that they're receiving in the United States. We actually pay them much higher wages than they would receive in other lines of work. I have paid my VAs when I've compared them to the rates that accountants and doctors and those types of people are paid. They are paid in line with that, with those folks. So how much should you be paying them? It's really up to you. I have one of my workers who was working at a shopping mall in a retail store for $6 a day. Now, I also wouldn't shortchange them. Working as a virtual assistant for a U.S. boss is considered a more lucrative position. And if you want to come from, have a good talent pool, you're going to want to pay them a competitive wage. Now, what is competitive? $5 an hour may be competitive, $6 an hour may be competitive. It really depends on what you want them to do. If you have to train them on, something that's very unique and, to develop their skill set, you may want to pay them more. If they're answering the phones, or maybe they're scheduling appointments, or they're doing data entry, then, that might be a good amount to pay them. What I found is that in the cities, the developed cities, where people live, like you would think that people, in comparison to the United States, we are definitely giving folks a good opportunity. There are situations where some workers live in very small towns. In these towns, these individuals will have to travel many hours, if not days, to their job. Sometimes they're gone for many months so they can send money home from their families. And even in the cities, the commute is very, very difficult. The traffic is horrible, and they're spending a lot of time on the road. So the ability to work from home is a huge advantage to them. And when you talk about the folks who live out, in the poor areas, in the small towns, the interesting thing is Wi-Fi is very, very prevalent. And there may be folks in some smaller areas where their job is providing for the entire economy for their entire village. So that is pretty uplifting. One of the things that I found very rewarding in being a business owner as my companies have grown is being able to employ people and give them ability to provide for their family. And the cool thing about working with people in other countries where the cost of living is much lower is I can impact a lot more people and a lot more people's lives by giving them employment, and in turn help my business at the same time. So I think it's a really excellent arrangement, and I don't think we're taking advantage of anyone any more than they're taking advantage of us. All of my employees, my Philippine VA employees, I'll call them employees, they are part of my work family just like anyone else. And I grow very close to them, just like my work family, and they are very, very grateful. They're very loyal, and they work very, very hard for me. And they're happy for the pay that they get and the benefits that I give them along with that. So hopefully that answers your question about, are we taking advantage of these folks in the Philippines? I would argue absolutely not, and they will tell you the same thing.